Hello, welcome to Pro Mixing and Mastering. Today I'm gonna show you how to mix a Nigerian praise gospel song. So let's get into it. Alright, the song is beautiful. What a beautiful Nigerian praise song from one of my subscribers, and the title of the song is titled Aloha. I'm doing the mixing and mastering for him, and the song is ready. And what did I do to the vocals, and what plugins did I use, what did I do to the instrumental? I'm gonna show you from start to finish, and then this is mastered version and also the mastering process. Now I want you to bear with me, guys. This is not gonna be for 7 minutes. This is just gonna be maybe above 20 minutes, somewhere there. So I want to show you everything. So here we go. The first thing that I did was, let me mute the groups that I created for this for the vocals. So what you have to do is first record your vocals nicely. And how do you record vocals? Just check out the videos that I did on how to record vocals in Cubase. So once you have recorded your vocals, then you create what is called group channels, because that's where you're gonna put all your plugins and every other thing that you want to use to control or add to the vocal. Don't just get a plugin and throw it on the vocal. Once you do that, and once the vocal gets processed, you are never gonna retrieve it back, especially once you close Cubase. The effect is just gonna be printed on the vocal. It's not gonna come out. Now the good thing about groups is that you can be able to like change or swap the plugins. So that's the reason why we create groups. And in case you don't know, just go to empty, come to add group channel, and just, if you want to make 2 group channels, one for the lead vocal and one for the chorus, you can come to count and just increase it to 2. And then after that, make sure your group channel track configuration is set to stereo, and then click OK once you're done. So basically that's how I made the channels. Then from there I also did the same process, but this time it was for the FX channel track. The work of the FX channel track is for you to put things like delay and reverbs. That's the work. And saturation plugins. And once I was done with group channel track creation and FX channel track creation, I went to the vocals. Then I sent the lead vocal to group number 1, to the lead vocal, and then I sent the backings to group number 2, which is for the backing vocals. And basically that's what I did. Let's go to the first vocal. So this is the main lead vocal, and what I did is, let me go to inserts. So what I did is I added auto-tune, and this is just auto-tune VST. Make sure you type in the key of your instrumental and then the scale. So with this song, the key is E flat and the scale is major. Then my retune speed is set on 20. I don't want his vocal to sound too robotic, so I like want it to sound a little bit natural. So what I did was I reduced it all the way to 20%, then all these format, and I just dropped them down to 0, and basically that's what I did to his vocal, to the lead vocal. I only added auto-tune 20%, then I put in my first compressor, and this compressor is basically from waves. And what this compressor is doing is that it's helping the vocal, it's helping to strengthen up the vocal. As you can see, my ratio is on 2:1, and then my threshold is negative 27.2. And how do you set up the ratio? Just see the high peaks where your vocal is like the highest, and then try to drop it down to the lowest part of the vocal, which is a little bit quieter, where the quieter part ends, and then that's where you set your threshold. So this one is just to strengthen up the vocal. The vocal sounds like this without plugins, and this is how it sounds like. Let me just turn off this and this and this and this, and this and this. It sounds like this. Then also, let me just turn off the sends as well. You can't even hear anything, so let me turn them on. Their vocal is really like low, even though it was like really recorded very high. So I've turned on the groups. Let me turn on this and this in the groups. So this is basically what I did to the lead vocal, and then from there I sent it all the way to the backings, to the lead vocal group channel, this one right here. And then from here, this is where I added my favorite go-to compressor, especially when I want the vocals to like hit hard and also like hit you in the face and then cut through the mix. This is the most powerful compressor you wouldn't want to lose. So what I did is I lifted up the attack to 50, then my release I dropped it all the way to 20, then my threshold lifted it up, then from there I reduced it to negative 28.3. It's a very powerful compressor. Watch what is going to happen to the lead when I take the compressor. Let me just save this. Yeah, take the threshold up there. Watch this. But watch, as soon as I begin to drop the threshold, it's a very powerful compressor. You don't need maximizer, you don't need Avox when using this one, because this one is like top end. See that? Did you hear that? That's what this compressor can do. It's a powerful compressor, and it just gives life to the vocal. The next, what I did to this vocal was that I wanted to cut unwanted frequencies and also reduce on the little distortions which were in the vocal, due to like I noticed that he really boosted up when it comes to when he was recording. So I wanted to cut and just remove distortion a little bit and just make the vocal sound better. So what I did was, first I wrote off this all the way to here, low cut. I did a low cut to about 50 something, somewhere there. And then also I had to deal with these frequencies. Let me show you how these frequencies are working. Or lower, let me just write or lower. Save it so I show you guys. Remember, we are doing mixing a Nigerian praise song from start to finish, so you guys just have to know everything. So this is the frequency that I started cutting out, and this is how it sounds like. So before, the song was like this, his vocal was like this. So I had to cut all these frequencies, this frequency. It's a bad frequency, so I had to cut it all the way to negative 3.1, somewhere there like this. Just to make sure the vocal is clean. And then next I dealt with this frequency right here, frequency number 4, which is 1K area. It was like this before, it sounded like this. Listen to this frequency. I want you to listen to this frequency, this one right here. So let's say you don't cut this frequency. The problem is that frequency is gonna destroy your ears. At the same time, it's not gonna allow your song to be good. So in order for your song to sound warmed up, search for that frequency which is around 1K area and just drop it down to negative 3 somewhere there. And then number 5 frequency that I worked on is this frequency. Let me just lift it up so you guys can take a listen to this. And usually this frequency is the one that distorts, can cause a lot of distortion. So in order for the distortion, just minor distortions, if you're experiencing distortions in your vocal, just reduce this frequency, which is around 2K area. So what I did was, I didn't want that frequency, it was too harsh, so I reduced it like this. So the vocal can sound warmed up, the vocal can sound cleaned up, and can sound good. The number 6 frequency is this one. I want you to listen to this. That one is the frequency that lifts up background noise flow and also mouth clicks. So that frequency, I just muted it and just, left it there. So basically that's what I did to his vocal when it comes to EQing, and you can see it's the same EQ. Once I was done with that, then I came to our de-esser 4K area. Remember, this is 4K area. Let me just save this so I show you something. Remember, we are doing start to finish, so don't mind time, guys. If you really want to learn, then you have to have patience. So our de-esser stereo, this one is from Waves, and then also F6 RTA EQ is also from Waves. Then this compressor, this is not from Waves, so it's from TC Works. You can get it from there. And then what I did was, I came to melody is narrow, and then from there it automatically comes to 4K. For example, once I do like this, it comes to 4K. Usually on default it's like this, but once you do that, it comes to 4K right there. And the numbers, I just raise them up like this. When you raise them down like this, you increase it too much, it just becomes too much. For example, let me just listen to this. So it's like completely gone, right? So what you just want to do is to make sure that some of those unwanted frequencies are controlled. So you just want to control you just want to control those frequencies which are a little bit you know, high. So you control those frequencies, and basically that's what I did. Let me just take it back. Let me take it back. Then next, what I added was this noise suppressor from Waves, which is NS1, just to remove the background noise and suppress that noise. And basically that's what I did to this. Just 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is how it sounds like.
Olúwa, Olúwa, ló ní gbogbo ògo.
In the mix. Beautiful. Then in the backings, I did the same. Watch the video that I did on the backings. You will see exactly what I did to the backings. I did the same. Brought in my favorite powerful compressor. I needed not to maximize anything. This compressor is a de-esser, and also it has soft knee. It has also it's a compressor. Basically, it's a very powerful compressor. It also has a little bit of saturation. And then next, what I put in my backings is F6 EQ. Did the same thing I did to the group number 1. Then RDSR, of course, I usually all the time use RDSR whenever I want the vocals to be good. NS1 as my noise suppressor or denoiser. That's what I did. And then I want to show you something that I did to the lead vocal inside the edit channel settings. Once you go there, you'll find that I have done this. Why did I do this? I wanted the vocal to have more presence, at the same time like control it a little bit and just get the vocals just cut through and have a kind of feeling that I wanted to have. So whenever you want to have your vocals feel like this, let me take another portion.
You turn my life around, set my feet up on the rock. You show a love of me, you deserve all the glory. Hey,
beautiful. So what I did was these to the group channel number 1, I cut down a little bit. This time I didn't cut too much. I cut, let me just save this once again so I show you guys what I did. You can copy this or lower. So what I did was I made sure that I cut the low, but not too much this time. Remember, we had already cut using F6, so I cut all this. This time this is gonna be like a support, just cutting a little bit like this, just a little bit, just to give it that presence. And then I cut down 500 area, this 500 area frequency. I had to cut down a little bit due to, you know, it sounds like this. Let me just take it up. Sounds like this.
Please, I give it back to you.
this frequency is not really a good frequency. That's the frequency which is which makes you sing as though you are singing in a can. So I made sure that I made sure that I reduced that frequency and just cut it down there. And then the other frequency that I had to cut to boost was the 5K area. I wanted presence. It sounds like this.
Now only you can do.
But I didn't want too much. I just gave it a little, just like that, just a little.
Now only you can do.
And then I also boosted up 20K area just to give it some high and also some top end sheen.
Now only you can do.
Once you do it too much, it's not gonna sound good. So this is just basically for the tweeters.
Now only you can do.
So it can sound like that.
Now only you can do what no other man can do. You always fight for me when others fight for their God.
So basically, this is what I did to all the leading vocals are routed to group number 1. So group number 1 is basically all this. Then to give the vocals that wider sound and that great sound, what I did was I added some synths from FX channels, and you know the FX channels are meant to carry plugins like reverbs, saturators, delays. So the first reverb that I put was reverb A from Cubase. Comes with Cubase. So reverb A, I send it all the way down, the weight to 100%, and then I calculated my reverb time. Very important, so that your reverb can always be in time. Then from there, what I did was I put the synths. I sent it from this side. I just increased it from this side to a level where I feel like, well, it's okay from there. So negative 20.81 works well for this song. Then next, my on the lead vocals, I made sure that I put in H delay, and I put it on ping pong, and then BPM, and then lo-fi. I turned off the lo-fi. I used ping pong, BPM, and 1/4. Basically that's what I did. Then the feedback just a little bit, 40% somewhere there. That's what I did. And then my analog, turn it down, all the way down. You don't want unnecessary noise. My H delay is on negative 30.49, so just a little bit of delay. That's what I wanted. And then that's what I did to the synths. Then I want to show you something also. I created 3 FX channels. There is 1 for reverb A, 2 for H delay, and number 3 for super tape, 6 from waves. What this does is that it makes your vocals have background space, like your vocals are sent a little bit in the back, so they can like get soaked in that delay reverb effect. So that's what I wanted. Then I also wanted the vocals to have that stereo sound, or like 7 speakers effect, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's what I wanted to add to the vocals. And basically this sounds like this. Let me just go to group number 1 so I show you what this does. Lead vocal, it sounds like this. Take it back to 22. It sounds like this.
Now only you can do what no other man can do.
sounds bad, right, when it's increased, but when you just set it maybe on just 22, it just works perfectly.
Not only you can do what no other man can do. You always fight for me when others fight for.
So whenever you want your vocals to sound good like that, add Super Tape 6 and make sure you create it as FX Sends. It's really gonna work out the way it is supposed to work out. Then I want to show you something. Let me just go to the mixer. So here we are. What I did was the vocals were too high and they were like more like distorting. So what I did was I made sure that some of the vocals are gain staged. So like this one is reduced to negative 11.2. So whenever you see that your vocals are too much, like the way, look at my microphone, it's like it's too high. So what you do is hold shift and then reduce, gain stage each vocal so that you can have working space. So I made sure that all the vocals were gain staged so that no matter how he shouts, I'm not gonna like experience distortion or clipping in those vocals. I am clipping right here due to the microphone that I'm using to like speak and show you guys what I did to this song. Otherwise, no matter how loud I play the song, it's not gonna clip. I created room. And how do you create room? By making sure you come on the mixer and then start reducing the gain to each vocal so that you can have more working space, unlimited space. So I created unlimited space for this song. And then from there, what I did was I make sure before you start your mixing, balance the instrumental. I balanced his instrumental and made sure that I started with the strum. This is the strum right here. Oops, I started with the drum kick. Where's the drum kick? This one right here. Yeah, this one. So what I did to his drum kit is that I added a compressor so it can hit harder and just be powerful. And then this is without it. It sounds boring. I wanted it to sound exciting, so I added a compressor from Cubase. This is a powerful compressor. My ratio is 3:1. Then my makeup is on 6.0, then threshold negative 25.9. Since they were live instruments, kick drum, I realized that whenever you're playing live, sometimes you go a little bit slower. So I just wanted it to match a little bit and just to cut through. So I used a preset called Funky Drums. It really works well on these drums. Then next, I EQ'd the drums by adding this area, 10K area. I wanted it to, they sounded a little bit dark like this. So I wanted the drums to have presence. So whenever you want your drums to have presence, just lift up the 10K area. That's what I did to the drums. Then I added a third plugin to the drum, kick drum, and this is Isotope Ozone 7 Vintage Tape. I wanted it to have saturation, so I added some saturation. Whenever you want to have saturation to your drums, make sure you add Isotope Ozone 7 Vintage Tape and just set it to drive. Drive is really gonna like give your drums punch and also a little bit of some saturation so they can sound like this. Yeah, that's for the drums. Then also for the guitar, what I put in the guitars, just to give the guitars that good effect sound. First I had to like raw off the lows. I didn't like the low in the the lead. I just wanted it, since it's a leading guitar, it has to be like, it has to have you know, a little bit of some sharpness to it and not too much bass. So I rawed off and then also EQ'd the frequencies which I didn't want. I removed, and basically this is what I did to the guitar. Then I put in Cubase compressor and it compressed it and also glued it together, and then I added more delay from Cubase for it to have that sustained sound, sustained sound, and for it to like have that reverb kind of effect. And this is how it sounds like without all these effects. Let me turn them off and let me play the guitar. Sounds bad, right? But with effects. So it sounds much better. Then I made sure that I balanced it a little bit, panned it to the left, and from there I went to the strum, this, and the inserts. I put in reverb A to give it more space, and then from there I put fab filter. I cut off all the lows and then boosted it up around 5k area, so I can open it up, this, without all these. Oops, sounds so dry and so dark. So with these, all right, then the piano only needed a Pro Q and then just a boosting up around 1k area, and then just a little bit of some low. So I like the way it was. And then there are congas here. I didn't do anything, they're already panned. Usually congas like that, they bounce left, right. They already have reverb, so those ones are okay. And then I came to the bass. Electric bass. So what I did to this bass is that I added CLA to a bass. All you have to do is go to bass and then add in CLA bass stereo, and then I boosted up the treble and also the sub, then the distortion just a little bit, and then the pitch is like chorusing and at the same time like a doubler. Then the bass, sub bass just a little bit on medium, and then I reduced the volume a little bit. And then I also added parametric EQ. I cut just a little bit, 1500, just a little bit, 2.0. There's a frequency I didn't like in that bass, just a little bit. Remember, the bass, you don't have to like cut all the way, or no, the bass, this was a bass, it's a low frequency, you don't need to do much cutting. So without these, let me just turn them off. With them on, very nice. Then from there, brass, there is this brass section here. Now to have that kind of effect, I did parametric EQ. I cut all the way and then boosted it up. Remember, it's a brass, so it has to sound sharp. And then I did also a second EQ, then boosted it up to give it more presence, and then cut the 500k area so that I can remove unwanted frequencies, and then from there added in reverb 32. It's a brass, it has to have space and room, so this is a reverb. So more space just for it to have that space, and then compressor to glue everything together. Whenever I want to glue everything together, add a compressor. This is why it sounds like this. Before sounds like this before. You know, with that muddiness and that bass, it was gonna fight with vocals, and your mix is not gonna go anywhere because you'll just be like working on the same area. But once you EQ it and then do all these, it will have space, yeah, like that. And then there is also this one, a synth. I like the synth, it plays like a pad, so this is like more like it fills up those the spaces which are empty. So what I did was, I didn't like the way it was at first, like this. It was like it sounded alone, like just going nowhere. So what I did was I added parametric EQ. I set it all the way up, EQ'd up, and then dropped the lows a little bit, and then left, right. I used parametric EQ, and then from there I used Pro Q, Fab Filter Pro Q, cut the lows, cut the 200k area, which is that boomy sound, and then also the 3250.8k area, and then also this other area around 10k area, so that it can sound more dark at the same time with space like this. Yeah, so basically that's what I did. Then the shaker, there is this shaker, continuous shaker. So basically it was all the way, so I had to cut and mute the rest. What I wanted was the shaker to only come when the artist is on the chorus, so the shaker is just put on the places where the momentum like builds up, so it's not everywhere. So I cut, and then the shaker, I left it the way it's supposed to be. You don't need to add much to a good shaker, so I left it right there. And then I just made sure that I did gain stage the instrumental I came to. For example, each instrumental is almost gain staged. I didn't want the instrumental being a live instrumental, live play to like distort the song. So I made sure that I did this. Let me show you. Did this right here on the stereo out. I did gain stage input gain. I reduced it to -6.1, so 6 dB cut out. Why? I wanted it to have more room for mastering, so that I can do the mastering very well. So I'll see you guys in the next stage of mastering this beautiful and nice song.